All right, so we're going to use what we know about circle graphs for us to figure out information that we need to solve a real world problem. So, in this example, we have Samuel. He surveyed his classmates about their favorite type of pet, and then he made a circle graph to show the results. The central angle for the section of the graph that represents the cats measures 108 degrees. If 45 classmates chose cats as their favorite type of pet, how many classmates did Samuel survey? Okay, so if we remember what we know about circle graphs, I'm just going to assume that this is our circle. When we talk about the central angle is we're going into the center, and then we're going to start at 0, and then we just make measure with our protractor. We just measure until we can find 108 degrees. Okay, so I know it's going to be larger than that. So I'm just going to assume that this is our central angle of 108 degrees. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we know that the circle graph represents 360 degrees in order for us to complete a full turn around the circle. And so 360 degrees would mean that we're talking about the entire circle, but we're only talking about a portion that we have here. But in every single circle, we know that the whole is going to be 360 degrees. I don't know why I put 108. I should have put 108 degrees, not percent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we need to figure out how many classmates Samuel surveyed. So we don't know how many he surveyed. However, we do have three pieces of information, which is enough for us to go on and solve this problem. So let's set this up this way. We know that it's still going to be a part to whole comparison. Okay, and typically we saw our sample here, and then we saw our population over here. Um, but in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to say this side will have our percentages, and this side will have our students. So we'll put numbers. So this is number of students. So what do we know in terms of the part to the whole? In terms of, I don't know why I keep putting percentages. We need degrees. Okay. Um, so what we have is 108 degrees is our part. And always when we're talking about a circle, the whole is going to be 360. So I'm going to write that again. 108, and that is over 360. And that is going to be equal to what piece of information did they give us, either about the part or the whole? Well, they tell us that there's 45 classmates chose cats. So that's the part. So we're going to put 45 here. 45. And we are trying to figure out how many students we have in all. So I'm going to put an X there. So in this method, I'm going to just use the fish method for me to try to solve for X. Remember, if you're using the fish method, you want to go to the side that has the variable. Look at what piece of information you do have. So you're going to start there. You're going to go diagonal, and then you'll go vertical, and then you'll go diagonal again. Okay. So it should be as easy as 1, 2, and 3 for us to find the answer. So the first step that we're going to do is multiply. Secondly, we will divide. And then lastly, we are going to provide our answer. So what we have is going to be multiply 45 times 360, and that will give me 45 times 360 gives me 16,200. We're going to take that 16,200, place it here. So 16,200. And now we're going to use division. So we're going to divide that by 108. So we're dividing by 108. And so now we have 150. Okay, so now you're going to take that, plug it in here for your answer. So 150, and then just add your unit. So in this case, it's 150 students that were surveyed. So there's your answer.